It's lesson 16 and it's our last day to explore our rock pocket mouse phenomenon. Today, you're going to need a pencil, your journal slip for activity 3, and your science journal. So, what is the correct order of those cards? Well, it's 2, 4, 3, 1. We know this because at first the Sonoran Desert was all sandy colored. Most mice were light with a few dark ones. Then, some locations, like here, had volcanic eruptions that cooled and created dark volcanic rock. At first you can see in card 4 that the number of light-colored mice is high in both locations. However, over time, the environmental pressure, the predators start picking off the light-colored mice and their numbers decrease in cards 3 and 1, while the dark-colored mice survive, reproduce, and their numbers increase. Now, as we heard in the video in the last lesson, it's all about selective advantage. I have a simulation we can use to think through exactly what was happening. Here, let me show you. In this simulation, there's a population of orbs that represent rock pocket mice with light and dark coat colors. And these larger orbs that you see swooping in, they represent predators. Now, as we change the color background, the mice with different coat colors gain or lose reproductive advantage. Let me reset here. And let me put the slider all the way to the left. And let's watch the simulation. What do the small clusters of dots that grow larger, like right here and right here, what is that representing? Yes, mouse offspring being born and growing up, so you can actually see reproduction happening. These questions are also on your journal slip, so as we discuss, you may want to be filling in the answers. Now, as we watch, are the dark-colored mice automatically preyed upon? Meaning, are the predators automatically going for them? No, sometimes they survive even on the light background. Now, how many dark mice survive and reproduce compared to the light ones? You're right, very few dark mice are surviving. And the ones that are not taken by predators, they just die naturally over time. Now let's reset the simulation and see what happens if I change the background to a mixed light and dark. So I'm going to reset, and I'm going to change the background so that we have some dark and some light. Do more dark mice survive in a mixed background? Well, it seems like they might be surviving more initially, but we have to keep watching because it's going to appear like the numbers of light and dark may reach a balance. I can see some dark ones over here, but they've died naturally. There's a dark one up here. And you can see that some more dark ones are coming into the population, and up here, and over here. And it seems like we have a mix of light and dark. Now, how are these dynamics different than what we saw in the light background? Is there an immediate increase in the dark mice? No, it's taking a long time. It's taking generations for the dark mice to increase. We really had to watch this simulation until we saw like a balance in number between the light and the dark mice. So it has reached somewhat of a balance. Now let's see what happens when I change the background to completely dark lava. Let's reset again. And I'm going to go to completely dark. And you can see these predators are swooping in pretty quick now because they can spot those light ones. We do see some dark ones in the population. And you can see the dark are passing on their helpful trait Their fitness is actually increasing a little bit better compared to the light mice. So why does the population of dark mice increase? Yeah, because more of them are surviving predation and they're reproducing. And how are these dynamics different than they were on the light and mixed backgrounds? In most cases, the dark mice are going to increase in number more quickly than they did in other backgrounds because they're better adapted here. You can see the population has really changed. It's almost exclusively now of dark mice. We can continue to move the slider back and forth. And you can always see every once in a while you still, through reproduction, will get a light one coming into the population. But we can continue to use this and put the slider back and forth, and you can watch the simulation. Feel free to try this out at home. The link is posted on Schoology. Now, if we had to construct an explanation to explain why all the mice on lava flows are now black, we might say something like this. Natural selection worked to change the population over a period of time. It did take time before we saw most of the population looking black. Initially, the rock pocket mice were basically all light colored, but by chance, a random mutation caused a dark colored mouse to be born, adding variety to the population. Now, at first, this dark trait wasn't helpful since flying predators, that environmental pressure, easily spotted them against a light background. But when the landscape changed to black rock, the dark colored mice now had the advantage and were better adapted. Those dark mice survived better. They started reproducing, making those little baby black mice at a greater rate than their light counterparts. In other words, the dark mice had a greater fitness, passing on their genetic trait to the next generation. But remember, it took many rounds of breeding, many rounds of reproduction before the numbers of dark mice increased until most of the population looked like this. Now notice that my explanation includes all the key components of natural selection shown in red. It's very complete. It's time for you to apply the idea of natural selection to explain our driving question from lesson 1. How did the animals of disguise in lesson 1 evolve to look like their backgrounds? I want you to go back to your journal slip and the video from lesson 1 and choose any one of the animals. It's your choice. Anyone will do. You can even review the screencast to see how your particular animal that you've chosen looked. Then, construct an explanation on your journal slip, answering that driving question. How did your chosen animal evolve to look like its background? Make sure that your explanation includes the key components of natural selection, like you see here on the screen. Once you're done, submit your journal slip for activity 3, either a photo of the written response or a digital copy. And until tomorrow, keep thinking, keep learning, and next time we meet, you'll have the opportunity to engineer your own adaptation.